Today we are doing the last of the favorite type videos thingamabobas. Yeah, we're talking about my favorite books of 2017. Originally, I was just gonna do one favorite book, like my #1 favorite book, because that's what I did with like TV shows and movies, and I was gonna keep that going, but it's been the tradition over here to do top 10, and I really didn't want to break that tradition because I like doing top 10 for books, so we're just gonna keep it going. Now, before I get started, let me just say I'm not gonna be talking about the plot for any of these books just because that takes a long time and I'm lazy and I don't feel like doing that. So what I'm gonna do is I do have reviews on each of these books, so I'm gonna link each review for the books mentioned in this video in the description box down below. So if there's a book that interests you and you want to learn more about it, my review will be in the description box down below. But now it is time to share my top 10 favorite books of 2017. Let's get started. So coming in at number 10 is a book that is probably going to surprise a lot of you because this was the only book I could talk about for months in the beginning of this year, and now it's at rock bottom. And that book is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third and final book in the ACOTAR series. It came out in May and I read it immediately when it came out and I loved it the first time. I thought it was great, and for a while it was my actual #1 book of the year. But then I started really thinking about it and getting into discussions about it and seeing these controversy and drama, and I reread some parts and I was like, you know, I don't know how I feel about this, and I realized this book actually isn't the best thing ever, but despite its flaws, I still do love it because if we didn't get this book, I would have never met Callies and Vivian, who are my favorite characters in the ACOTAR series, and we would have never learned about more, and there was that really cute face and reunion scene, so I do love it, but for the most part, I got a lot of issues, but I can't even talk about it. Let's just move on. At number 9 is, I'm pretty sure, a debut novel, actually, that I read back in March and I really enjoyed, and that is Carnival by Stephanie Garber. This is the first book in, I believe, a duology. I know for a fact a second book is coming out, I think, next year. But this was a really fun book, and I really enjoyed it because it's one of those books where it's just so intense and suspenseful that you just can't put it down because you want to know what happens, and that's the feeling I got while reading this, and I really like that feeling because I think that makes books more enjoyable and also makes me read them quicker, which is always a plus. Coming in at number 8 is one of the cutest books I've ever read, and it's also a LGBTQ plus book, which is always very nice, and that is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is Mackenzie's debut novel, and I read this back in August, and I really enjoyed it because our main character, Henry, is just a babe. He's wonderful, and I loved that it takes place in historic times because I'm such a huge history nerd, and I don't really read a lot of books that take place during historic times. It was just really fun, and I liked it a lot, and there's actually going to be a sequel to this one too, and that's really cool. Next at number 7 is a Rick Riordan book because seriously, top 10 lists are not complete without Rick Riordan books, and the Rick Riordan book I have is The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan, of course. This is the second book in the Trials of Apollo series, and this was really fun. It was a pretty quick read for me, and I really liked it. It was really nice getting to see Apollo and Meg and everyone else again, and plus some characters we haven't seen in a while, and it was just really fun. You may be wondering, Cordy, how is this like not #1? And it's not at like the top 3 because I don't know, it just wasn't the same as The Hidden Oracle, and I think it's because I was so excited for The Hidden Oracle that like nothing could compare to it. But this was still really fun, and I still really enjoyed it. Next, at number 6 is another book that's gonna surprise you because not a lot of people have read this book, but I read this back during BOOKTUBE-a-thon, and I just thought it was the most cutest thing. It was so good, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a standalone novel, and I also think this is Sally Thorne's debut novel, and it's about 2 adults actually that fall in love in their relationship and all that stuff. And this was my first time reading a book where the two main characters are like almost in their 30s, so for me it was a little awkward sometimes, but I still thought it was really fun and the concept's really interesting, and I don't know, I just really liked it. At number 5 is another contemporary book, because seriously this year might be the year of contemporaries for me because I read a lot of contemporaries, but I read a lot of Jennifer E. Smith's books this past year, and this one is my favorite Jennifer E. Smith book, and it's just one of my favorite contemporaries ever now, and that is The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. This book was just so cute and adorable, and it's also very short, so you could like legit read it in one sitting. But I just had so much fun, and I know that it's one of those really basic concepts, but guys, it's so cute. Coming in at number 4 is another contemporary, because like I just said, this may be the year of contemporaries for me, but I had a really fun time reading this book, and that is My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. You've probably heard of this because it's really popular, and I read it back in April, and I had so much fun reading this book, and I hadn't had so much fun reading a contemporary so long. And what I love most about this book is that it doesn't just focus on two people falling in love, it focuses on their families and what's going on in their lives. It's not just about romance, there's so much more to it, and I really liked that, and it was really well done. Coming in at number 3 is another Rick Riordan book, and that is The Ship of the Dead by Rick Riordan. This is the third and final book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard trilogy, even though I do think there could be another book, but that's just me and we're not here to talk about that. But this was really fun. I read it back in October, and it was just really nice getting to see all my favorite characters again, because I love the Magnus Chase squad. They're so much fun, and I think this was wrapped up very well. I really didn't hate anything about it. For the most part, I thought it was just really fun, and I think the ending does have some little twists that I enjoyed and I had never really seen before, and I think Rick did a really good job with this book. Coming in at number 2 is a book I do not own, but I wish I did because it's so freaking gorgeous. But my second favorite book of the year is The Winter's Kiss by Marie Rutowski. The Winter's Kiss is the third and final book in the Winter's Trilogy, which I marathoned back in February, and I had so much fun reading those books, and I actually loved each book, so it was really hard for me to choose which one was my favorite, and I had to go with the third one because the third one was just so beautifully written, and the whole entire time I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, this is like poetry. It's amazing, and Marie Rutowski's writing style is just beyond beautiful, and I loved every second of The Winter's Kiss. Even though it was trying to break my heart in half, I still had so much fun reading it, and it was a really fantastic finale. And now, coming in at number 1, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this book is number 1, because this was my least anticipated book of the year, but now it's my favorite book. So my favorite book of 2017 is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. So this is Empire Storms 2.0. I do not consider this the Six Stone Glass book because it's basically Empire Storms told through Cal Westfall's point of view. And this came out in September, and it's actually the quickest Sarah J. Maas book I've ever read. I read it in 3 days, which made that this even more surprising. But I just fell in love with the story, and it was so nice to be in a new country and have most of your characters be new and learn more about them. It was so wonderful, and it was actually really nice learning more about Cowell, and I'll say it now, I like Cowell Westfall. There you go, I said it. But I just had the most fun with this book, and it's still weird even now, like 4 months later, saying that, oh, I love Tower of Dawn and it's like my favorite Sarah J. Maas book. Like, it's still weird. When I was trying to come up with this list, I kept always going back to Tower of Dawn, and I just couldn't deny the fact that Tower of Dawn is the best book of 2017. But now, my friends, are all my favorite books of 2017. Oh my goodness. Please let me know in the comments down below what were your favorite books of the year. Were some of your favorites in my list, or were they different? Just let me know, because, you know, I like books. I like talking about them, and I would love to know what are your favorites. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'm Courtney, and I'll see you all next time with a new video soon, so I will see you then. So, bye!